Hi, I'm Kevin James Bond. I'm a real estate agent with Remax Real Estate Group here in Colorado Springs. And this is a quick video on working with a real estate agent, what you should know about me, this real estate agent, and working with real estate agents in general. What does a real estate agent do? I'm going to break this down in this video. So I'm breaking down the role of a real estate agent and how I can help you with your real estate needs here in Colorado Springs. So what do I specialize in? I am a residential real estate agent. So I help people buy and sell residential property. That's single family homes, condos, townhomes, patio homes, new construction homes. If you're looking at new construction going on, I assist buyers with that as well. Land, I buy and sell land. I have a land listing right now. Check it out. And I also help people with relocating to Colorado Springs. So people who, maybe you have family here, maybe you've never lived here or been here before, but this channel is all about giving people information on Colorado Springs and real estate and news for the city, so they can decide if this is a place that they want to live. I also help military families make the move, so I assist with PCS transfers, and I also list homes here in Colorado Springs. So I'm very aware of the real estate market. I pay attention to all the news reports and the goings on here. Now, I have helped several clients do a PCS here to Colorado Springs, and I found houses for them. I sent them videos, and they purchased property before they ever actually went to the property. And so one of my clients, Miguel, actually gave me a testimonial. I'll link to that video in the description here below. Now, the areas and the locations that I serve is the Colorado Springs city and all the areas surrounding that. So Monument, Falcon, Peyton, Woodland Park, Manitou Springs, Fountain, Security, Widefield, Cascade, Palmer Lake. I've worked in Pueblo and in Denver. I'm not as familiar with those markets, I will admit, but I have still helped clients up there. It's very easy to re-educate myself on the current status of the different markets up there, already knowing what I know. But generally, I do work in the Colorado Springs area and the surrounding areas. And again, my videos are for people who are potentially making the move to Colorado Springs, who just want to know more about what it's like. And, people who already live here in Colorado Springs, I'm regularly putting out content about what's going on the real estate market. So people who live here already, who own homes, who own property here, can keep tabs on what's going on with home values in the future. So, what does a real estate agent do? Some of the roles of a real estate agent include one is representing the client, whether that's the buyer or the seller. You are looking out for your client's best interests as the real estate agent. It's my job to use my expertise, my knowledge, my skill to make sure that my client is fully aware of what they're doing when they're buying or selling their property, how much they can get for it, if they made some minor or major improvements, like very specific ones, how much of an ROI could they get? So could they sell their house for more if they did that, or should they just sell it as is? What they're likely to get for it. So we're doing market analysis based on sold comparables, comparable sales, and advising them on what that price should be. And if they receive an offer, is it a good offer? Are there problems with it? And for the buyer side, finding homes, although in this generation, a lot of people are very comfortable with looking online for homes and narrowing down their search that way. Also, I send people home searches directly from our agent MLS here. So clients are very comfortable with looking at homes online and narrowing down their search that way. But I'm very happy to send people homes directly if they don't have the time or interest to do the preliminary looking themselves. I'm very happy to send them stuff directly and look for stuff for them. A real estate agent is also going to help the buyer understand what they want most from a property. So when you're showing homes, some buyers, they're not quite sure. They like the one house over another, but they're not really sure what it is. It's very easy for me to pick that out and help them figure that out and narrow their search down, or, perhaps remind them that, oh, you said that, this was an important feature for you, and this particular home doesn't have that. And they realize, oh, you're right, it doesn't. And, we save the time of, being able to narrow that out or weed that one out rather than having to let them do it themselves. That's what I'm here for, is to help make it a little bit easier, a little bit smoother process for them. And again, I'm helping them find that property. We're narrowing down what they're looking for. They're looking for a particular location. Oftentimes, home searches online, they're not necessarily as uh, detailed or specific or targeted as a search as people would like. And in my MLS, my multiple listing service that agents put properties in, there's a lot more things that I can search for, like criteria that I can search for, that just makes it a lot easier to have a more targeted search for what people are looking for, so they don't have to waste time looking through houses that are clearly not going to be a good fit for them. But I definitely understand people who like to browse too. And there's no problem with that. Agents are also showing properties. And for me, that looks like in person, that looks like video if they can't be there, or, if they're out of state. And sometimes if we're both available at the same time and they're just out of state, we can do a live video. And I've done that before, so you can do that on Zoom or WhatsApp or something like that. So it makes it a lot easier, and that's especially convenient for military PCS moves where they're not here. They're not actually stationed here yet. So they'd like to find something that's already ready and set up, that when they do get stationed here, they can just move their stuff in right away. So it really helps to be able to have that video, whether it's live or pre-recorded. I do some detailed videos so that you know for sure what you're getting into. And always we can go back to the property. Once you're under contract, you can see it, and you're for sure on it. You can see it in person then and fly out and just make sure that things are the way that you want them to be. But it's been a positive experience with everybody that I've worked with where we've done something like that. I keep in touch with all the major builders in Colorado Springs and many small independent builders. So there is a lot of new construction, new residential, and multifamily, not as much, but there's a lot of residential going on, new construction wise, in the north and east and south parts of Colorado Springs. So in 2022, the most home permits that were pulled were in five major neighborhoods in Colorado Springs, and I'll put that picture up here that I made for that. It's going to be Forest Lakes, Cordera, Banning Lewis, Falcon area, and Lorson Ranch. Those are the five neighborhoods that are seeing the most new construction action. And if you just look at the map, that's pretty much that whole curved line area is where most of that new construction is happening, just on the outskirts of Colorado Springs. But I'm regularly getting communication and emails from sales reps with the different builders in these locations, just because I want to stay on top of what's going on. And, when somebody asks, hey, what's going on with new construction? What are the prices? What does that look like? I already know what that information is, and I can rattle it off and give it to you and say, these are the different communities. This is what it looks like, and for small independent builders, usually you've got to find a lot. And you've got to buy a lot first, and then that builder will build on it for you. But you can get into things where you're getting construction loans, where you're, rolling in the cost of the land and the construction of the home into, one loan that's going to be converted into a mortgage later. So there's different options, different ways to go about it. But I want people to be educated on what is currently going on in the market in Colorado Springs. And you just see what the different options are. If new construction is not your thing, or it's too expensive, or you just don't like it for whatever reason, there's also pre-existing homes. There's many different options, many different ways to go about buying property here in Colorado Springs. But as far as new construction, I do keep in touch with those builders because I do want to know what's going on. I also keep in touch with my clients and my friends with a weekly email that's personally written by me. And that email, I give a short update to Colorado Springs, the real estate market, news for homeowners, and giveaways to local restaurants. If you'd like to get in on that, you can find a link to my email newsletter in the description below. One of the other things that real estate agents do is they will negotiate for and advise their buyer. So I use my experience and my knowledge of the market to let my clients know, when we're looking at a house for the first time, is there something, that is out of the ordinary that maybe they want to have a home inspector look at, if they are very interested in this house, or just identifying what different things are in a house. There's a lot of different quirky things that, most people just don't see enough homes to really know what a lot of things are. And it's my job to know what these things are and to be able to explain that. I give you my opinion, and that's based on my expertise, my knowledge, and my experience. However, you make the final decisions. I don't force you to do anything. I do tell you, if it were me and it was my money, this is what I would do. And I give that to you as my recommendations to you. I tell you why I would do it that way so that you have a reasonable explanation. You decide what you want to buy or sell and how you want to do it. But I like giving people the knowledge so that they can make the best decision for themselves. I don't disclose to the other side when you're under contract why you're buying or selling property, or, to anyone else. That's your business, and I'm representing you and your best interests. And part of that is not disclosing to other people really what you're doing or why, how much you're doing it for. It's none of their business. They're not a party to the contract. I'm representing you. I will not disclose that you're willing to pay more for a home as a buyer, or that as a seller that you'd be willing to take less for a home. I'm not going to disclose that because I represent you. I keep you fully informed during the process. You can always ask me questions. I am responsive and available. I get back to you and I let you know what is going on at all times during a sale. A real estate agent also is a great communicator. They are communicating with many different people. They are communicating with the agent on the other side. They're communicating with the lender, with the title company, with the appraiser, with the home inspector, with any possible contractors that are getting involved, with an HOA that is involved. They are regularly communicating with, and their office, with legal paperwork, for legal compliance, and for making sure that the sale is done correctly and the way that the buyer and seller are expecting. I recommend home inspectors when you're under contract on a property, who will walk the property with you, and they are trained to point out potential issues, things that you need to be aware of, potential lifespan of different appliances, where they're at, how much life they may have left in them. The home inspector will thoroughly assess the property and give you a big report with pictures and videos, whether you're there or not, but I recommend you be there if you can. They will let you know every little thing about the property before you buy it. I highly recommend always having a home inspection done. A real estate agent's job is also to keep their clients fully informed during the transaction. I regularly update my clients on what is going on during that process. I give them next steps and I guide them through the process of buying and selling the property. So when issues come up, and issues generally do come up, I'm there and I'm paying attention and I'm looking for solutions to potential problems before they come up, because I've done this many, many times and I know what to look for and what to avoid and how to make the process smooth for everybody. At the end of the day, the buyer just wants to buy a property and the seller just wants to sell a property. But sometimes things get difficult, or there's a negotiation process, or there's the buyer and the seller have different expectations for the condition of the property as it's selling. And so there is negotiation and there is communication that goes on in that. For my listings, I pay for photography. I'm paying for the 3D tours, the drone pictures, and the staging if that's needed. First impressions are the most important, and I want your property to shine. The pictures and the video is critical to buyers taking a further look and scheduling a showing on your property. So I cover the expenses for that because that is very important that that gets done. I give you market expectations when you sell, what you're likely to sell it for, what you could sell it for with improvements, whether those are minor or major improvements, and what kind of ROI you can expect to get off of that. How long that it will take to sell is another important thing. I'll let you know that. I advise you on offers and on the buyer interest that you potentially have in your property. Is the offer you received a good offer, or are there issues with it? What is the showing feedback telling us about your listing and how buyers perceive it? A real estate agent handles the scheduling and the coordinating of showing homes, or if you've got a house property for sale, scheduling the showings on that and scheduling the appraiser and the home inspector and the final walkthrough for the buyer. I'm also a therapist for my clients. And buying and selling property is often stressful. There's a lot to it. It's much more than just selling a couch. There is a lot of paperwork that's involved. There are a lot of expectations that are involved. And there's a lot of emotion, especially on the part of people selling a home that they've lived in for such a long time. But also when you're buying a property and you're moving into it, especially if it's your first property, it's a very new experience and it can be scary and it's definitely stressful and it's very helpful. It's reassuring to have a real estate agent, someone who has experience, who's been through this many times, who can reassure you, and it's not just explaining everything to you, although that's great and that also reassures you, but who can also let you know that what you're going through is normal. It's my job as a real estate agent to do a lot of hand holding with my clients. And sometimes the heat of emotion of, this buyer asked for all of this, or the seller's not, they're not going to do all these things that seem very reasonable for them to do. And it can get heated when the expectations are not met. And it's my job to help my clients navigate through that to either the closing on a house that they really want, or perhaps moving on from a situation that, is really not working for them. But most of the time, it's a great property. And the negotiation and issues that come up are things that can be overcome and can be worked with. I also really like explaining the housing market to my clients. It's very important that you know what I know and where the median and average sale prices are, where mortgage rates are, where the buyer demand and supply is, and that's going to affect how much is your house going to sell for and how long is it going to take to sell, because that's going to affect your future plans down the road. I also run a Facebook group for the neighborhood that I live in. So I host monthly events for my neighbors and my friends, and we get the kids together, and there's always food involved. And we've done events like we did a pumpkin patch in October, we did an Easter egg hunt, we did a chocolate potluck, etc. So things like that. So I like to be in touch with my community and know what's going on with my neighbors, to have people that I know, that I'm close enough to, that I can rely on when I need something, or vice versa. And this also keeps me in tune with local news, things going on, and gives our neighborhood kids a chance to get some community playtime. And as well as the adults, we get to actually interact with other adult people. So I think that's cathartic. I think that's very helpful. And I love just inviting people to that so that they can be involved in a sense of community. Even if it's not in their neighborhood, it's still in Colorado Springs. For a real estate agent, you need somebody that is responsive, who answers their phone, and that's what I do. I make sure that I am quick on my responses. Oftentimes, people are looking for a contractor, like, oh, something broke. I need, a plumbing issue. Do you know a plumber, a 24-hour service plumber? And that's not often, but I keep in touch with a large network of good contractors that are also responsive and that do good work, and that I trust them. And I want to make those available to the people that I know. So that's also something that I like to provide to my clients and friends. A real estate agent also does the paperwork. They are filing and filling out the contract paperwork and being a coordinator between all the different parties. Once you go under contract, you typically have a 30 to 35 day process from going under contract to actually closing and signing the final paperwork and getting the keys. So there is a lot of paperwork and communication that's involved that a real estate agent is expected to keep up on to make sure that that transaction goes smoothly. Again, what I give my clients is, if I give them the recommendation of, if it were me and it were my money, this is how I would approach this. These would be my concerns. These would be the questions I would want to ask. This is potentially the offer that I would want to make, and maybe I would want to have these details in the offer based on that, based on your situation, if it was me and my money. But I don't tell you what to do. At the end of the day, I'm representing you. You make the final decision, but I give you my recommendations. And again, I help both military and non-military clients make the move to Colorado Springs here. So I'm very good at explaining how Colorado Springs is laid out, my recommendations on where to go, what to do, what to see, where to eat, and just how to really get involved in Colorado Springs and see what the city really has to offer so that they can experience it fully and decide if this is a place that they really like. And I also run this YouTube channel where I share all things Colorado Springs and real estate regarding the city. So this is an easy way to uh, get more info on the city and on real estate news. So if you do like this video, please click the like button and hit the subscribe button and the bell to stay in touch. And if you'd like to get in touch with me, my cell phone number is 719-291-5924. You can call or text me at that number. And if you want to email me, it's kevin@kevinjamesbond.com. Or you can contact me on social media. I'm pretty easy to reach there. My handle is either Kevin James Bond or Kevin James Bond 007. So I hope that helped answer questions that you have on what a real estate agent does and what I can do specifically as a real estate agent for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.